What's the single most common illness that British people encounter when they're traveling abroad? That's traveler's diarrhea. I'm Zainab, I'm the pharmacist from PillSorted, and I'll explain what does traveler diarrhea mean, how do we treat it, and more important than that, how do we prevent it? Also, as a mom, what are the important things that you need to look out for? Traveler's diarrhea is diagnosed when there's 3 or more runny poos or diarrheas within a 24-hour period. And it can be with other symptoms like vomiting, it will have really bad tummy cramps, it might have some fever, it might have blood in your poo. We don't need all of those symptoms to say this is traveler's diarrhea. So the runny poo and diarrhea is the most important. What causes it? 80 to 90% of traveler's diarrhea is actually caused by bacteria. It can also be caused by viruses, and it can be caused by parasites. Like the bacteria that usually can cause it, one's E. coli. E. coli actually lives on our body in our digestive system, but when it moves into other areas of the body, or the harmful strains, can cause really bad traveler's diarrhea. Also, other strains are like the salmonella. These bacteria are the ones that cause the traveler's diarrhea. For the viruses, there is a norovirus that can cause the same problems, and it usually causes outbreaks. For the parasites like the Giardia, it can take longer to show up, but it can cause symptoms for much longer than the virus or the bacteria type. Most of the time, the reason that traveler's diarrhea is caused is actually contaminated water. So it's not about having a large meal that has upset your tummy. It's about the water that has got one of these harmful bacteria or viruses in it. That's where we need to be looking at when we want to prevent these happening. Okay, the other reason might be food that have not been cooked. So fruit and vegetables that are not cooked can cause it as well. There's really helpful advice about this on the Travel Health Pro website. It discusses what does traveler's diarrhea mean, which destinations are more risky, so you need to be mindful. So you can go and look up that website for the right advice. How long does it take? So usually if it's a bacterial one, it'll be 3 to 5 days. It shows with a high fever. With the viral ones, you'd have vomiting as well as diarrhea quite a lot. It comes up really fast, but again, the timeline for healing is the same. For some people are more vulnerable, so younger children, toddlers, babies, or people who've got chronic conditions, these are the ones that are much more vulnerable. Pregnant women as well, you need to be more careful with them. How do we treat traveler's diarrhea? The single most important thing to remember about is rehydration. It really doesn't matter if we don't know if it's a bacterial outbreak or if it's a viral outbreak. Antibiotics are not the first line exactly because of that, but rehydration is the important thing that you need to focus on. So this is ORS, one of the samples for the rehydration, and this is another one, the Diarrhoea. It's good to have some of these with you, because if you see that the diarrhea started, it's good to have some of these. But if you don't panic, you can make it yourself as well. It's a mixture of 6 spoons of sugar, 1 spoon of salt, and give it a little bit of a taste like an apple juice or something that'll help become more palatable. Also things like Lucozade that are not the fizzy ones, these have got the right amount of these electrolytes in them as well. Now, what are the other options? So there are things like loperamide. This is only for adults. So loperamide is a capsule that you can have up to 6 of them per day, but it's just for adults only. And the other one is actual antibiotics. So if there's fever, if there's blood in the poo, if it's been more than 6 diarrhea episodes in the 24-hour, that's when you do need treatment. But again, it's better to have it checked first. Now, how about eating? Start with bland food, okay? So especially if you're on your GLP treatment and you've had a protein heavy diet for a long time, right now you need to make sure that you recover from this episode first and then carry back onto your schedules of nutritional diet. So right now it's about bland food that will help your body recover. So things like toast, dry crackers, or potatoes, they're fantastic because they are the food that the friendly bacteria in our guts really like. So go easy to digest foods. Bananas are quite good as well, and avoid fatty foods, alcohol. Now with probiotics, if you're not allergic to dairy or you have probiotics, the good thing is they will help replenish the friendly bacteria that our body needs, and that will help you feel better, but introduce them slowly. A good combination of bland food would be like cooked rice with a little bit of yogurt. That could help your body replenish pretty fast. Now when you're on the GLP like mounjaro and Wegovy, there is a high risk for dehydration, and sometimes you might think this is more of the consequence of your medication than actually traveler's diarrhea. Well, they can be, but the thing is you'll be at higher risk. So if you have an episode of diarrhea happening, you can take a break from your GLP treatments, make sure that your body recovers, and then you go back onto your treatment. This is what you need to do with a good couple of your blood pressure medicines as well. So if it's a water tablet, for example, furosemide, and you're getting dehydrated, you do need to come off the water tablet for a little bit to help your body replenish, and then you carry on with your treatment. If you've got any questions about your medicines and what to do at an episode, feel free to reach out to us. You can always call NHS 111 as well. And if you're abroad, check through your traveler's insurance to see where is the sites and advices that you can get to. Now, as a mom, how do I plan what to do next? So if I think about like a traffic light system, a green would be for me that if your child has had 3 diarrheas, right, but they're drinking plenty, they still can nibble of some of their favorite food, and they're going to the toilet for wee, that's perfect. Okay, so that's a green light. You can just carry on and be observant. Okay. Now, if you see the number of the diarrheas is getting more, or fever starting, or your child is not going to the toilet enough for the wee, that means dehydration is happening. So that's the time to call and get advice. Okay. If it's a toddler, this is much faster, okay, so don't wait for too long. And red is when you have really sunken eyes, they're really tired, they don't want to do anything, they really look unwell. Plus they've had throwing up and they've got the fever. Okay, so any of these, you want to go for red. That means take them to a medical center so that they can be checked, if needed fluids being injected, as well as starting antibiotics as soon as. Okay, how do we prevent it? The most important thing to prevent this from happening is the water. So be mindful of places that contaminated water might be. That means use bottled water as much as possible, even for brushing your teeth at night. So use that bottled water. When you go for a shower, keep your mouth shut. If you go swimming, try not to drink too much of the water. Okay, so those are all cases that can bring the contaminated water. Also, ice has to be frozen long enough for these bacteria to die. Not all of the time is the case, so avoid ice as much as you can. Then for the food, peel the fruits as much as you can. Cooked food are perfectly fine. If there's dairy stuff that have been there for long, avoid them. I remember one of the holidays that we went to this beautiful hotel that had like a buffet, and it had a really nice creamy dessert, and I was the only one that had that. For 2 days I had the worst experience of traveler's diarrhea ever. We had to cancel everything else, and I had like a 3-year-old son just running around me, so it was not fun. But be mindful of the food. The other thing is hands. Wash your hands and hygiene, especially before food. So make sure that you've got like an antibacterial gels or wipes so that you can clean your hands before starting to eat. The good news is usually it is self-limiting, so you will start recovering after 3 to 5 days. But what you need to look out for is if you see after 5 days you're not getting any better, or your symptoms getting much worse, your wee is getting darker and darker, or if you have an underlying condition, so being pregnant or having other chronic conditions, and you don't feel any better, get checked. As a recap, traveler's diarrhea is one of the most common illnesses that happens. The good thing is it usually limits itself. Make sure that you take plenty of rest and keep hydrated. If you need any advice, feel free to reach out to us. This video is part of our travel health series. Feel free to subscribe to our channel and visit our website for that clinician-led health advice. Thank you.